Hello and welcome to What's Next Wall Street. I am George Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews, and this is a show about stocks, crypto, and the new decentralized financial Web3 world around us.
So I've got details on all the hot new trending products that everybody's talking about using and investing in. And today I'm talking Google gossip, billionaire beefs, and commodity come-ups.
That's very well written.
You like it?
And I'm going to talk about Meta missing the mark in the market and product market fit.
That was good too.
Yeah,
Meta misses, I get it. All right, so we've got Greg Krause, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com as our expert. Greg charts a lot of these companies, and those chart indicators can show where a particular stock is headed so that it's easier to target investment potential. So Greg combines technical analysis with fundamental knowledge. Also, Greg's got his little pup with us today. It's so cute. Sorry, the dog has already knocked down the camera, the microphones.
Our goal with this show is to provide you with education, information, and tips to help you become a more informed stock trader, or with a tailored trade plan, you can stay up to speed with what's next on Wall Street and stack some financial gains. That means bring profits home.
That's right. You can email us at OptionsPlayers.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street with your questions. We can also direct you to instructors and experts over at OptionsPlayers.com. What they do is dig into trading fundamentals. Yeah.
You can watch this episode on the OptionsPlayers.com YouTube channel or listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes. The first thing you got to do, though, to get at us is to subscribe. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit that alert button so that you always know what's next on Wall Street. And don't forget to give us 5 stars. Appreciate it. Okay, y'all know I like a bit of hot tea, but I don't usually expect that to come from the tech or the business world. That said, is there any part of our culture that Elon Musk is not a part of? Musk has denied reports of an affair with the wife of Google co-founder Sergey Brin. Now, the Wall Street Journal cited unnamed sources who claim Elon was briefly involved with Nicole Shanahan last year before Brin filed for divorce. So Elon dismissed that reporting as nothing more than an attempt at character assassination. Elon tweeted that he works crazy hours, so there just isn't much time for shenanigans.
So I was there at Art Basel when this supposedly happened, and I didn't see any of them, and I was partying with billionaires. So you'd think, though, fancy. I wasn't. I lied. Anyway, in my mind I was. So, but do you think it's time that Elon should get some vitamin D?
I mean, come on.
No, Elon's not naked. He's just wearing a white towel in this photo that matches his skin and blends in perfectly.
Yes.
If you're listening to the podcast, check out our YouTube version of the show over at OptionsPlayers.com over there to see this photo of Elon looking white on white.
Serious sun. Meanwhile, Elon posted this photo of himself partying with Brin, so obviously they're still cool. Elon retweeted lots of other posts taking shots at the Wall Street Journal and other publications, which are kind of hilarious.
That photo he took is not very cool. It looks like Brin's photo bombing.
I know. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, look at this photo.
This is a meme. He's got a meme on.
He's got so many memes where he's crapping on the Washington Post. I just love it. But whatever.
And then the tweet that he did for this was liar, liar, pants on fire with just underscores for the word liar. Really, apparently there's just enough time for shenanigans with the fellow billionaire, but and then trolling the press as well.
Yes.
So for reference, Elon Musk is the richest man in the world and Bill Gates is the 4th richest. I've been in the room with both of them and they're both equally nerdy. Ooh. And they've got some beef though. The beef. Maybe it all started when both took somewhat different stances on COVID, with Elon downplaying the severity of the virus, questioning coronavirus deaths, and famously dissing stay-at-home orders. Remember, he wanted to keep his factory open.
Yes.
Gates called Elon's COVID comments outrageous.
But they aren't always at odds. I mean, Gates gave Elon props during an interview when he said that Tesla was one of the greatest contributions to climate change anyone has ever made. So that's props.
Yeah, but Gates doesn't even drive a Tesla. In fact, Bill helped bring one of the greatest Porsches of all time, the 1986 Model 959, to America with his help in pushing what's called show or display legislation back in 1999. But he's still driving the brand, the electric Porsche Taycan.
Oh my gosh.
Who can blame him now? The car's hot.
Yeah.
Back to the beef. Gates told a French YouTuber that he does more for climate change than Elon or anyone else. Elon replied with a sigh and called Gates' interviews underwhelming. As for SpaceX, Gates says he'd rather spend his cash on vaccines here on Earth rather than space travel. Now, Gates is also not a crypto fan. He says it's not environmentally friendly and warned Bitcoin fans to watch out if they have less money than Elon. And since nobody has more money than Elon,
Okay, we all got to watch out.
It's a warning to us all. And did you see this leaked text conversation between the two billionaire boys? Apparently, Gates shorted Tesla for $500 million, and Elon was not happy with it. The two were talking about philanthropic possibilities, but after Gates admitted that he was indeed shorting Tesla, Elon told him to scram. Did he really say scram?
I mean, I think that's just probably,
Things heated up even further when Gates said Elon could make things worse for Twitter, but Elon really knows how to go for the jugular, and he has a huge social media following who loves, even when he does just that. So Elon mocked Gates' weight gain in a tweet on social media and got a gazillion views. But this emoji is so iconic. It might as well be.
Is this a real emoji, though?
It's a real new emoji, the pregnant man, because of
hilarious.
the friggin' post-millennial, they, them, theirs, 52 versions of.
I thought he made that. Wow.
No, that's legit.
All right. Well, I think Elon's fans are more engaged, especially on social media. Somebody compared a tweet Gates made when he announced that he would be transferring $20 billion of his own money to his foundation and that his plan is to move off the list of the world's richest people and to return his resources to society, to reduce suffering and to improve lives. It's probably gotten like 12 or 13,000 likes, including mine, of course, as of today. Yet, like 15 minutes later, Elon tweeted this diss at Hunter Biden and it got like over 500,000 likes. And I don't think it's political. I just think Elon fans, I think they like it when he goes for someone's throat. If you're listening to the podcast, you got to watch it on YouTube to see it. And it is funny, but I just think that his fans are younger and they like it. And I think they've been the underdog. His fans feel like they've been the underdog for so long that they like it when Elon just goes for that throat.
This picture that Elon tweeted is ridiculous. It's a guy with like 5 cameras on his head.
It's Hunter Biden.
That's not
Every
Hunter.
time he buys crack and hookers. This is so mean.
Yeah, but it's
hilarious. No, it's not. But it's hilarious. I mean, I get it, but I just think they just like it when he's mean.
Hey, Georgia, do we have anything else to talk about, like other than Elon?
Of course.
Oh, good.
What do you think this is? The Elon multi-minute update? Tesla's latest earnings report is revealing a mixed set of data. Now, revenue came in slightly below expectations at $16.93 billion. Analysts were expecting just over $17 billion. However, earnings per share were $2.27, while experts were only expecting $1.81. So Tesla previously said it delivered just over 250,000 vehicles in the second quarter.
Wow, and he said that the Gigafactories just did 2 million cars as well.
Amazing.
So I'll play along with this. Tesla has unloaded most of its Bitcoin holdings. Tesla made waves last year with a major investment in the digital currency and now had sold 75% of it. Tesla is making the move as the cryptocurrency's value has fallen more than 50% this year. The company said it bought traditional currency with the more than $930 million that its Bitcoin sale brought in. Maybe Gates was right on this. Don't buy Bitcoin after all.
Right. Meanwhile, we've seen where Twitter, at least partly blamed Elon Musk for missing expectations in his quarterly earnings report. It said revenue didn't meet predictions due to uncertainty related to the pending acquisition of Twitter by an affiliate of Elon Musk. Now, revenue came in at just under $1.2 billion, but analysts were predicting more than $1.3 billion. So monetizable daily active users came in at just below 238 million. Experts were looking for something just above that number.
So Twitter's lawsuit against Elon will most likely start in October, and they're going to have to reveal how many bots they have, by the way. After he withdrew his offer to buy the company for $44 billion, Elon was hoping this trial would begin next year, but Twitter's lawyers accused him of trying to run out the clock by squashing the time for appeals, and the judge was not having that and sped up the docket. Now, Twitter claims Musk has been disparaging Twitter since signing the agreement and wants to shift the cost of the market loss to the shareholders. And remember, they took a poison pill to not let them buy it. And this has more drama than a soap opera.
I love it. I love this gossip. It's so cool.
Today's pro tip is brought to you by OptionsPlayers.com. Always consider liquidity, volatility, and volume when deciding what stocks or options to trade. These components are key to successful plans as they differentiate instant rule breaking from high probability wins. In previous episodes, we've covered the specifics on what to look for when planning trades using these variables. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and review the previous episodes so you can take advantage of this suggestion.
Now remember, if you have a trading tip that's working really well for you, we want to know about it. So drop it in the comments section. We would love to share it with everybody. Okay, remember to smile brilliant. I'll come back to that after this story. Guess what I found out?
What'd you find out?
That I grind my teeth in my sleep. My dentist mentioned it, and I was like, no, I don't. So I told my husband, I was like, can you believe the dentist said I grind my teeth? He was like, yeah. Sometimes I hear you grinding in your teeth at night. I was like, why didn't you tell me?
Like throw some gum in there or something.
He just thought I was having a nightmare, and I was. The nightmare was that I was grinding my teeth so much that I was wearing down my tooth enamel, resulting in cracked and chipped teeth and worse infection. I didn't have infection, but y'all, tooth enamel doesn't grow back, okay? Crowns are like $3,000. You know how I know? Because I got 3, all right? I know, it's TMI, sorry. But I'm done with all that thanks to SmileBrilliant. Remember I told you we were going to loop back around? Do y'all realize how easy, quick, and inexpensive it is to get custom night guards from SmileBrilliant? Oh my gosh.
Well, let's compare those costs because I had Invisalign and I have a guard from the dentist that cost me, I don't know, $600-700.
Wow.
Now, custom night guards from SmileBrilliant are as low as $45 per guard, with reorders as low as $25. That's because they keep a digital file of your dental impressions so that reorders are hassle-free. Not to mention the hassle of having to go to the dentist's office. I love that. LOL. The process with SmileBrilliant is so easy. It takes about 15 minutes to make your dental impression at home with the SmileBrilliant kit. You send it off and get it back in about a week.
Yeah, it's so easy. Y'all, I sleep so well knowing that I'm not grinding my teeth all night, plus knowing that I'm saving my teeth and my money. That helps too. Now, my only grind is investing. Get it? My grind? It's my grind.
I get it. Well, SmileBrilliant also has teeth whitening trays, whitening gel, water flossers, and more. So get 20% off your next SmileBrilliant purchase when you use our discount code WNWS.
Yeah, go to SmileBrilliant.com and use discount code WNWS for 20% off.
And smile.
I guess my favorite part of the show because we get to hear from you, except for that gossip part. That was great. You can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. Comment on our YouTube page. We keep telling you comment. We're going to talk about it. Or email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com.
Email us gossip too.
We love gossip. So the first email comes from Chris Young from Options Players site. He wrote, one of the questions/topics I would like to know more about is the relationship between VIX and stocks. I understand that the VIX is just a mathematical equation, but I'm curious about the correlation between the two. Chart-wise, it is easy to see, but does the VIX reflect the most recent stock move, or is the opposite where the stock quickly reflects the VIX move? Thanks for this question, Chris. Greg, to me, that whole question was a mathematical equation and algebra one. So I need you to explain this in the simplest of terms.
All right. So first, most people look at VIX as the fear gauge, but actually your volatility index. Okay. So volatility is going to be based really upon how we're going to look at is how much something changes, up and down. But
so a spread between $2 stocks have high VIX, I would think.
Really, how VIX really is priced, if we want to make it as easy as possible, understand. VIX goes up when people think there's going to be a large change in the price. Right? That normally it goes up when the price goes down, right? So the price goes down, everybody expects the market to go back up. So it has that larger gap. You see this in what we call implied volatility or the expected volatility. So options get more expensive, things like that. So there's an expected move. And how it relates to the chart, VIX normally goes way up when the stock market goes down. Although you could see a bump in VIX, it might go up if the stock market really took off really high because people were expecting maybe a small downturn for a small period or whatnot also.
So VIX is overall market. It's not just on one stock by stock basis.
It's going to be based upon the overall S&P 500.
Okay.
Normally what it's going
that
to be.
Makes sense.
On their options is what it's going to be based upon.
Got it.
So
Okay.
when VIX gets sketchy, do you run for the hills, or do you try
No,
to look
most
for those?
people use VIX as a hedge in some way. So they own, let's say they own, whatever, mutual funds, or they own SPY, or they own their all their little diversified
Yeah.
stocks, and they think the market might go down. Well, there's a lot of ways you can hedge against that. You can, of course, short some things, try to get that even amount. But most people just buy VIX, or I said most. Most people I know would buy VIX. That way, if the market goes down, they make their money back up in the VIX.
And where's the VIX standing right now?
Well, I don't even know exactly where it is because the market has gone crazy yesterday.
And today, too,
I guess I don't know when this is going to air, but you had the Microsoft and then the Facebook earnings, and then
Microsoft
then
was up,
Apple was
Facebook
later
was down.
today. So
Yeah.
and then you had the Fed's meeting. So everything like went way up, then it came a little bit down, then way back up. So I'm not even going to speculate
Yeah.
where the VIX is because
So we're recording this show earlier. This show's going to air on the 29th. So maybe we'll get in the comments and talk about the VIX. Hey, we got another email. This is from Joseph Harnden of the Options Players community. Thanks for being a member there. So back in April, he says, I stopped dollar cost averaging both in equities and crypto since the trend was an absolute disaster of a decline. Crypto's off more than 50%. Since then, I started back with crypto, but I'm only buying Tether currently. And on any major setting, if it drops, I'll convert my handful of coins that I like, I guess, to Tether as well. I have not started a process yet for my equities accounts, but I wanted to be set up for success. Since there's no way to really find a bottom, do you suggest A, dollar cost averaging shares? Remember these, Greg. B, add to leaps in 2024. Or C, add cash in account and not buy anything, just accumulate cash. Well, that seems weird because you'd think you want to buy when it's low. So he knows in a perfect world, I'd want to execute all three, he says, in synchronicity, but I want to see which of the better three options would be. What do you think, Greg?
and this is for equities, not crypto, right?
I think he had a mix of it in there.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, crypto, I think it was great for me because,
Did you sell in November?
oh,
when it
I
was at
shorted the crap
30,000?
out of them way before that because everybody thought crypto would be some inflation-proof thing, and it was. I kept saying it wasn't.
That's because the market traders are in crypto and they're just mimicking what they do at the office
a lot
9 to
of it
5.
had to do with mining, right? What do miners use? Energy. What produces most of our energy?
Coal, and
Yeah,
natural
coal,
gas.
oil, things like. So the price of that just went way up, and now you have, we kind of estimate how much it costs to, basically mine a Bitcoin.
And that's the spread, right? Fuel in ASICs because they're not
Yeah,
using video cards
so
anymore.
it's supply demand. So if you don't get any more people wanting to buy it, where they're getting this money from? First off, so if the money stays flat but the price comes down, now the people that are mining it have to spend more of the Bitcoin that they have. They have to sell that on the open market. So you have more supply, less demand, or demand stays flat, more supply lowers the price. And then you have all these kids out there that were just leveraging it because they're like, oh, I'll leverage it 10, I'll leverage it by 100. We all know that guy that thought he was smart and he leveraged it 100 and lost everything. Now,
I know guys that were using their Bitcoin to take out loans to buy more Bitcoin. I'm like, bro, you got to sell that stuff when it's at 24, not 20.
yeah, so,
or 18.
leverage is, it sounds like the way to go, but it's a short-term thing. It's not a long-term investment. Sooner or later, it's going to come back and it's going to just destroy you. And I think that's one reason. It's just destroyed everyone's leverage. And now you kind of see it with some of these other companies that are going out like Coinbase and things like that, or having an issue with that.
Yeah, Coinbase is laying off employees. You've got some of the ETFs that are built around holding multiple coins that are down 50% as well.
Now, on the equity side is a little bit harder because it's an election year, and not to get political, everyone is going to try to make the market benefit them in the election. You have the Democrats are going to try to make the market look good. Even if it's down, they're going to word it somehow. And then you're going to have the Republicans are going to try to make it look as bad as possible because, they want you to think that it's Joe Biden's fault, right? So the market's a lot harder to guess here, but we are coming off of just handing money out to everyone, and now that money is tightening up. Mm-hmm. And you have the Fed raising rates, so now it's a little harder. I've protected my stuff, kind of like collared it, so I'm not going to gain any money or lose any money, but some of those options, I don't really remember what the first one was. Second one was buying leaps. I'm not against that if volatility is a little bit lower, maybe. I'll maybe just look at spreads versus just buying leaps. And then on the third one, it was just buying cash and leaving it alone. Well, we have high inflation. Just putting cash somewhere and letting it do nothing it's not really a real thing. So I would always say buy some asset or,
Hey, classic cars.
there you
I'm
go.
sticking with it.
You're good?
Yeah.
Classic car. It doesn't
Jewelry,
matter. Just,
diamonds, Rolexes. Am I golden?
I mean,
Beanie
invest it in
Babies.
yourself. Find something that's cheap.
Pokemon.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
How you
Find
doing with your
something that is really
Pokemon
cheap.
hobby?
I mean,
He called it Pokemon.
we got a lot of money.
That's
I mean,
disrespectful.
difference?
He called it Pokemon, and that is disrespectful.
Mon.
even that market is down right now,
said
right?
mon.
So, but
Mon.
you have your ups and you have your downs
Yeah.
in every market. So,
Yeah.
it is what
Well,
it
I
is.
was walking around my neighborhood at like 7:30 this morning trying to find Pokemon. So it's never down in my house. Okay, it's the thing.
Really? They're still doing that game from
Are you
Niantic
joking?
where you have to catch them?
So my 6-year-old did it when he was like in 3rd grade. Now he's a junior in high school. Now my 8-year-old, mom, I'm like, are you kidding me? We got to walk around the neighborhood just in case we see some
Wait,
Pokemon.
and there's a special event. You got to go catch all the
Got to
special
go catch them
event
all
ones.
while you got the early bird gets the worm apparently. Okay, Greg, I have a question. So the American economy is basically, I mean, we're technically in a recession after shrinking an estimated 0.9% in the second quarter of this year. It's the second straight quarter of negative growth after a 1.6% drop in the first 3 months of the year, right? So even though nobody's really calling it a recession,
Especially Sleepy Joe.
how do you trade on a recession? I know you just kind of
All
like
right,
you're like
so
we're in a
First off, officially the reports for the second one will not come out until like October or something because it takes like 3 months to figure it out for some reason. Yes, the current
And then
administration says we're not in a recession.
Right.
Just because I'm not paraphrasing this. Historically, a recession is when you have the GDP decrease 2 quarters in a row. But we need to take a more holistic view of the economy now. So now, you remember what I told you about trying to make the market and the economy look good? This
Sure,
is the
sure.
Democrats.
Whoever's in
now we're
office
going
is
to
gonna do that.
change how we do the GDP. The same way we change how we look at inflation. They smoothed out housing costs, saying, oh, housing's only gone up 10% in the last year. I don't know where you live. It's
Yeah.
not in America.
maybe not in the last year, but in the last 2 years it went up like 50%.
Yeah, so they say it's only like 20. So, it's politics on that side. Yes, we're in a recession. The market is kind of already gone down. It could go way more than that. But, with the Fed's monetary policies and how they can change things, it's really hard to know what's going on because it's just human behavior. And politics play so much in it. They're not going to want the market to go down. They're going to do everything in their power to stop that. If it's to throw money at tech companies.
Well,
I
throw
get
it.
But
Throw it
look,
at me again.
If you've driven a boat, you have to turn early, you have to slow down early, you have to do everything ahead of time, right? So this is an analogy, Georgia.
Don't be cute.
I'm just being 1%y over
I
here.
haven't really driven a boat, but
When you give all the money away, Sleepy Joe made it rain money. Everybody had lots of money.
I think you forget.
And then you're like, oh, now everybody has too much money. They don't want to work. And now you got to rein it in by raising
Yeah.
interest rates.
I don't wanna get
I'm not going to
political.
blame Joe
I'm not gonna get
Biden for
political
it here. I
because
know
we got
you're going to
some
have some Donald Trump supporters out there.
But not only
Donald
that, he
Trump's
gave money
administration
too.
gave out
Yes.
trillions and trillions
Lots
of
of
dollars
money.
during COVID. Now,
Yeah.
once again, you got people like you, and that's what it was. But they also a lot of money that the Fed gave away on their purse to these companies, buying their bonds at almost, their cost of
Ridiculous.
capital was like 2%.
Yeah.
Like what?
Ridiculous.
And everybody goes, oh, that's great. And the lowest interest rates here, that doesn't affect me and you. I have some money, and I can tell you it doesn't affect me. I'm not a billionaire. I don't run a billionaire company. The government's not buying portions of my company in bonds so I can pay
You
them
didn't
back
take
in
any
pennies.
PPE money.
No. So, it's not helping the average person.
Right.
It's not even helping the above average person. It's helping the elite. And then they're saying, it's helping you. It's not. It's not.
So it's just like you said,
Yeah.
every administration does it.
Yeah,
Because
it doesn't
was
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's who they give their money to, I guess, is the
Right.
way. And everybody always assumes that GOP is Wall Street or something. It's not. That's the Democratic Party for the longest time. BlackRock, places like that, that's the Democratic Party. Now, if you're going to say GOPs, they got their oil and some other stuff, and they all have their lobbies and, whatever. But yeah, it's just which rich person do I funnel my money to?
Basically,
yeah.
That's really it. That's really it. So if you've got a question, we're probably going to go down a wormhole like we just did, but we can probably answer it, or Greg can anyway. So hit us up on social media, What's Next Wall Street, in the comments section or on YouTube, or email us at What's Next Wall Street at OptionsPlayers.com with your questions.
What if you had it all? Billions of users on your platform, a way to reach them with products before they even told their friends or family of the desire to purchase them. You spent $2 billion on a new display platform for users to escape reality, then you blew it. Your platform lost your users' trust thanks to the Cambridge Analytica scandal. It was blamed for election fraud in not only the leader of the free world, but in other regions due to rampant spread of disinformation and conspiracy theories. I'm, of course, talking about Meta, formerly known as Facebook, and their CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, who plans to cut engineers by at least 30% this year, as he warned them to brace for a deep economic downturn. He says, if I had to bet, I'd say this might be one of the worst downturns that we've seen in recent history, Zuckerberg told workers in a weekly employee Q&A session, audio of which was heard by Reuters. And just yesterday, the company missed revenue goals for the first time ever. So my buddy Ben Parr joins us to talk about Meta and more today from San Francisco. Hey, Ben.
Hello, how are you doing? It's been a while.
It has been a while. So Ben, you've been a critic of Facebook since the early days of the feed, when they brought the team from Brin feed over and incorporated it into the Facebook experience. Tell about those days. You ironically created a group to hate on Facebook within Facebook?
Well, okay, more complicated than that, but I will, my first 15 minutes of fame was when I was a junior in college, and they launched a newsfeed. This was before Friend Feed even, I think, existed. They launched a newsfeed, and I created a Facebook group called Students Against Facebook Newsfeed, not because I wanted it to be taken down, but because it didn't have any of the privacy features I wanted. I saw people having their breakups on the newsfeed, and I was like, I don't want to have that. I gave it to some internet friends. I left. Within a couple hours, I got a phone call from a friend that's like, yo, have you looked at your Facebook? You have 10,000 people in your group. By the time at its peak at the end of the week, it had 750,000 people in the group, which was 10% of Facebook's user base at the time. And so I've had a unique relationship ever since then with Facebook and Mark, because I was also a reporter for Mashable years later. And so I've told both sides of the Facebook/Meta story.
I remember those days, because you'd be scrolling through Facebook and it would say like, so-and-so just broke up. And some creepy guys would be like, yeah, I'm going to slide into those DMs before you could slide. I guess that was back when you could poke.
That was when poking was a big thing, yes.
Okay, so a handful of years ago, you wrote a book in 2015 called Captivology. What was that about?
So after my time at Mashable, I wrote a best-selling book for HarperCollins. And it was because I was investing in startups, and they all asked me for the same help in press, marketing, customer user acquisition, virality. It all fell into the same category, which is how do you capture attention? And so that led me down this path to understanding, hey, there's all this research on attention, but no one's really turned this into something actionable. So I wrote Captivology, which is a book about the science and psychology of attention, why we pay attention to certain people and products, and how to utilize that science to captivate others. I went through 50 years of scientific research, a couple hundred years of scientific research in attention and memory, interviewed 50 of the top PhDs in the subject, as well as business leaders, everyone from Sheryl Sandberg to Steven Soderbergh to David Copperfield, and even the creator of Super Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, all contributed to the book.
Oh, very cool. So speaking of that, most of us were captive in our houses during the pandemic, and social apps like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook, they all flourished with people doom scrolling away their lives. People were clamoring for human connection and went to social media to communicate. Now, YouTube channels popped up for dozens of how-to topics. Even our show, What's Next Wall Street, came out of this pandemic era. So this would have been the perfect time to drop the cost of Oculus Facebook's virtual reality headset to, I don't know, $99 and let humans escape the real world, which frankly sucked for most people living in democratically led states. Should the marketing department of this been fired at Meta for missing this opportunity?
So let's talk about what happened there, because it is complicated. Something's not in their control and something's in their control. I remember because I have my Oculus with me during the beginning of the pandemic. We actually used it to do workouts. So yes, absolutely it's something, but there was a lot of demand. The problem in the beginning was manufacturing, which was the problem everywhere. They just were not prepared with anywhere near enough, which I understand. You can't have the foresight to be like, crap, like this thing is happening. We need to have millions of like Oculus Rifts like ready to go. I think the larger problem is evolving it into a way where people will want to use it in their daily lives. So think about like just the VR and its like current penetration. It's still not yet super high. And there's a bunch of different reasons for that. But overall for Meta, it's essential for them. They saw the writing on the wall, I'll say a couple years ago, when they saw like Apple controlled the smartphone market, and they knew that Apple could make changes that would destroy their revenue. And in 2020, they did that when they made it so that you could opt out of data tracking in iOS 14.5. Seems really small, but when that happened, Facebook ads became a lot less effective. The cost of ads rose, and now you're seeing the impact. They're not able to make anywhere near as much money. They're making revenue misses. Their whole goal has been and continues to be make a new hardware platform like Oculus or a VR platform, a metaverse platform, where they can be less, they don't have to be reliant on somebody else's hardware. But the truth is they haven't been able to succeed. Manufacturing, marketing, and even just like the kind of product that people will want to use in daily life. I'm very curious to see, as an example, what does Apple eventually come out with, and will people use that at a lot more daily life? My guess is probably.
Yeah, if you think about the Bluetooth headsets we used to wear, you'd be called a Blue tool. And then when Google did their glass, you were called a glass hole. But then it's cool to see white earbuds stuck in everybody's face, right?
I mean, that's a marketing thing, right? Like, Apple did an incredible job marketing AirPods. And I mean, the flip side is the AirPods really, really work. You can't walk around with an Oculus Rift like around it. Just looks dorky. They're amazing experiences, but it's not an experience that most consumers are going to go back to every day. Apple, rumored to be taking an AR approach to the topic, and like whatever they design is going to be something people will want to wear and look beautiful, because Apple knows how to market those things and does extensive work and waits to like figure out, okay, what are consumers actually going to like go? Like, you're not going to see Apple launch a Google Glass so early because they know what the backlash is going to be. They're going to wait for others to do the stumbles, learn from them, and then launch a thing. And like, unfortunately for Facebook, like Apple's gain is Meta's loss.
Yep, and Snapchat had their glasses, which were quirky. You've got Ray-Ban teaming up with Meta for their voice control glasses, and but think about it. Cell phones and gaming consoles are sold for less due to subsidies because you buy data plans and software that's locked into that hardware. Now, the Quest 2 headset costs $299 or $399 today, depending on capacity. But that's going up by $100 August 1st. And Target, everywhere is sold out of these things. And electronics typically get cheaper as they're mass produced. So what am I missing? Do you think they were subsidized, or do you think, as you said earlier, they're just not selling the volume needed for mass production discounts?
It's probably all of the above. I mean, they obviously are trying to stem losses because of the market, because of their position. But it's hard because, for them to fully realize their metaverse vision, they've got to have everyone using their metaverse devices. It's a chicken and egg kind of problem that Meta/Facebook has not yet been able to solve. And it's critical that they solve it, because if they can't, then Apple will find other ways to slowly cut Meta's revenue down, because Meta and all the other ad companies, like social ad companies, are reliant on Apple in some way, shape, or form.
So this goes back to when George and I in the 2000s did the QCAD. It was the chicken and the egg, right? You had to get the barcode reader out there at the Radio Shack, Forbes Wired, and you had to get the barcodes in the magazine. So I get that problem very well. But we spent like $80 million on the QCAT. Facebook spent $20 billion with a B dollars on development of the metaverse since 2020. They even changed the name of the company to reflect Mark's commitment to the platform. Do you think this was too soon, or did he need to ditch the negative connotations around the Facebook brand?
It had to happen. The Facebook brand had become seriously toxic for a lot of people and still remains so. But it already I remember like the instant like they changed the name. Now reporters were talking about Meta, not Facebook. It did change the conversation. So from a pure branding perspective, they had to do it. But from a like, did it like, are they going to succeed on a vision of the metaverse? That both remains to be seen. But the like how tall of an order, it's extraordinarily tall. What does this metaverse exactly look like? There's some metaverses that already work really well. You're talking about things like Roblox. You're talking about things like Minecraft. Like they don't require that whole thing, but they are metaverses. But like, will a more like the metaverse that Mark has outlined through the videos and things come to fruition? Not sure. Have you done a bunch of meetings in VR? Like, I haven't done one in ever. I was thinking that I would be doing it. I still kind of want to do it, but I don't know.
Well, for those of you watching the YouTube channel, take a look at what Ben's doing. He's using our friend Phil Libben's product, which is the best and worst named product ever. And what that lets you do is flip between different scenarios you can be in. So you're kind of in like a holodeck situation here. Can you go to the beach for us and tell us how the weather is?
So reporting live from somewhere in the Caribbean. It is quite windy. I have turned on the noise canceling so that you can't hear it. And my goodness.
Those look like tears on the screen. Are you crying for us?
If I was crying, you wouldn't be able to see it.
And then this is what I love. What if you guys are not watching this, you can see this on our YouTube channel for What's Next Wall Street. So Ben, I've always known you as an out of the box thinker. So there you are, coming right out of the box.
There you go. I'll go digging, see if I can't find a solution for Meta's problems. Give me a second.
I know it's in there. Hey, so Zuck was quoted as saying there are a lot of people at Meta who shouldn't be here, and he's cutting back on hiring by 30%, saying during an internal Q&A session that leaked in early July. It's estimated that 17,000 developers are building the metaverse. Maybe you can find some of them in that box. Ben, do you just trust this team to jump into a virtual reality bed with? Like 17,000 people working on something that I want to be immersed in if Facebook's already creepy?
It's hard. Okay, so look, like let's people have underestimated Matt Zuckerberg in the past, and they have been proven wrong before. I think that like we have to give credit to like Instagram is one of the best purchases of all time. And I think the WhatsApp purchase, like, despite its price tag, turned out to be a very strong purchase as well. Now, that said, that's very different than the situation today. And so do they have a strong team? Yes, but I think Mark is trying to like instill the fear of God and also like, maybe lay off without having to lay off is like a way to think about it. But like, the question is more, what's actually in his control of the metaverse side, and like what will that actually look like? Because he could have the best team and still not be able to pull it off. But it might be Apple, might be somebody else. But I actually can't even tell you what the metaverse is going to look like 5-10 years from now. A lot of it's dependent on the hardware, what consumers are adopting. And the worst case scenario for Mark is that Apple is the one who succeeds in building a metaverse, and then they have to go and like build things for that metaverse. That's the worst case scenario because Apple is not their friend, and Apple is consistently finding ways to really put the bite on Facebook. That's the reason. Apple is the reason Facebook is in the position it is in today. It's just it's their mortal enemy.
And that's because of the cookie crumbling, so to speak, right?
Yes.
Well, let's hope that Mark's
the cookie apocalypse.
That's true. Yep. And then Google delayed their cookie micro. We're going to talk about this on next week's show, by the way. So thanks for mentioning that privacy setting in iOS with version 14.5, because that'll be a next week's show. But I just hope that Mark's predicted future of a mass market hysteria and downturn doesn't come true, and he keeps the wheels on the bus now that Sheryl Sandberg is leaving. Ben, by the way, you interviewed her before. Do you think that she was the only adult in the room?
No, they have some very smart people there, but Sheryl was an instrumental part of their growth. I'm surprised she actually stayed for this long. She doesn't need to. She deserves whatever she wants to go and do. And honestly, I think she's just going to spend a lot of time relaxing, getting married, all that sort of thing. And look, would I want to go and deal with all those problems? Like, probably not, especially since she doesn't need to. So I will say good for her. There are some smart people that they've been promoting the last couple of days. They promoted CFO to CSO. They promoted a VP to CFO, things like that. We will see what happens. I think they do have smart people. I do think they've become complacent, riding off of easy ad money. And I do think that the challenge is extraordinary to build and get people into a new metaverse, because no one even knows if a metaverse is a thing for the average consumer.
That's true. And Oculus was the most downloaded app last Christmas,
Right.
which was what you used to set up the device. And we covered that on a prior show. But I'm still going to stick with my Google Cardboard, which cost about $10. And you just open this up and you stick any smartphone in this. And if you want this Google Cardboard, just download it.
I have it somewhere. I still have my Google Glass somewhere. I had to go and pull that out of the thing and see if it still works.
Well, thanks, Ben. You'll never be a glass hole to me. Thanks for being a guest on our show today. How can people keep in touch with what you're working on these days?
I mean, they can find me at Ben Parr, BenParr, on every social network, especially Twitter. And I started a company called Octane AI. We actually work on helping e-commerce brands through this data privacy stuff, iOS stuff, help them like collect their own data. It's octaneai.com, OCTANEAI.com. But I'm just around on the internet. Come say hi.
Cool. All right, buddy. Well, good seeing you. Can't wait to catch up IRL now that COVID is completely done and over and everything's safe.
Yes, sometime soon.
Okay, buddy. Thank you for being on the show.
Okay, this is about to be the shortest consumer trend segment ever, because since this has basically been an Elon Musk show, I just want to talk about what I think is the biggest trend ever. I know that Teslas are cool, right? It has like the world's best infotainment system with Netflix and Hulu, arcade games, karaoke, like karaoke
Even
for
a fart
cars.
app.
Yeah, it's fast. It's one of the safest cars in the world. It's got a high resale value. It's keyless driving, but you know what? I lose my keys and my phone every day, so that does nothing for me, but I'm sure some people can appreciate that. It is fully electric. I get it. But there are other cool electric cars like the Ford Mach-E, the Audi e-tron, the Lucid.
Yeah.
There are more, but more importantly, there's the coolest EV car ever. That's the
Yeah.
Porsche. You already know that, the one Bill Gates drives. So here's my point. People buy Teslas because of Elon. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Just like many people were and still are Steve Jobs fans, and it helps that their products are amazing. Tesla's amazing. Apple's amazing. And they've changed the world. But is it a mistake to invest based on the celebrity behind the product? Yes, I'm calling Elon a celeb because he really is a celebrity right now. On the other hand, we spend thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands, on sports cards and jerseys from, our favorite athletes. So is it the same thing? I mean, if you're going to spend like $10,000 or $50,000 on a sports card because you love Michael Jordan, what's the difference in spending $75,000 on a Tesla because you love Elon Musk? Is it a bad idea to invest in, celebrity-driven stuff?
I think and in 2 weeks, we're going to dig into this. 2 weeks, I'm going to show you why the Tesla is kicking everybody's butt.
Okay, I can't wait to hear.
Exploring what they can do with software, which is unheard of.
Yeah, because I need Hulu in my car. I
So
really need to be
Elon
watching.
Musk, celebrity, whatever, he's taking how many companies to $1 billion and interrupted how many different things. So let's not put him in the celebrity status like that. When he does get involved with something, whether it's his ideas or whether he's just good at getting people to work together to destroy industries and take them over, he
goes for the throat, like we said
Banks,
earlier.
Yeah,
Twitter.
cars. These are things no one else has ever been able to do in space. There's
No big
three
deal.
things nobody's gotten into, and he doesn't just work in them. He took over them.
Dominates.
PayPal,
Yeah.
Tesla, and SpaceX. SpaceX is basically all
And if
of
SpaceX spins
the
out
United
Starlink,
States space program now.
Starlink for their high-speed wireless, if he spins that out,
It's going to take
gonna
over
be
wireless internet and everything.
Another $1 billion industry.
So I'm not going to talk about him as a celebrity.
Okay.
But should you trust celebrities in investments? Hell no.
So not Kim
It
Kardashian
is.
or Kanye
So,
West, no.
you probably, and it's funny because the people that are always saying, oh, that's a fallacy or that's a strong man, forget all the other logical fallacies. And you could say appeal to authority. This one I would put into the appeal to celebrity. Basically, because that person was good at something, you think they have an authoritative purpose in something else.
Like Matt Damon
Matt,
with
I was going to get you.
Crypto.com.
There you go. Get your crypto now. Risk it. You should get crypto now, and now you lost 50%.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
could be you've seen it in the past. I'm not going to beat up on my man 50 Cent, but 50 Cent had his little, and he got a little bit of issues with
Yeah.
those. So you have to understand these people are getting paid.
I heard
push
with
it. It's an
inflation,
advertisement.
50 Cent is only worth 45 now. Is that true?
I don't know about that, but it goes over and over. So investment, no. Now it works as an advertisement, right? Michael Jordan's wearing these shoes. I want to wear the same thing that my, idol or icon is wearing, right?
Yeah.
I want to be like Mike, right?
Yeah.
And that's where that fallacy gets its power from. I want to look like that. Look, those females wearing that makeup, it wasn't because of that makeup, okay?
It was because of Rihanna. It was because of Kim.
Look at how many women looked good in their 20s, right? But now we're 50 or 60 and look way better.
I mean, I don't want to brag. Or
Let me
anything,
tell
but-
you, they had the same makeup. Some of them,
No.
black
Makeup's
don't crack
that's
and
true.
whatever, or beige don't age. But they've had some work done, and or they have, a lot of skincare and stuff that's not that little bitty $20 thing you could buy at Walmart. They're spending thousands, and this is their career.
Not me, y'all. He's not talking about me.
Yeah, not her. All right,
no,
so it's fake.
Tom
so
Cruise, I
don't
watched
invest in it.
Maverick, and I'm like,
Who
did
is
he-
this guy? He's
But-
like 25 again.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you can't be smart about it. Like I said, the market is all about human behavior. So if you see someone coming out when they're about to come out with something, you might be able to get in before other people.
Yeah.
Because you're expecting the masses to follow. A good one was back in the day when we had Oprah Winfrey, the weight loss program.
Oh, Weight Watchers.
Weight Watchers, right? So we were like, okay, Oprah Winfrey's losing weight again. She's going to come out with a new Weight Watchers thing. She did, and the stock went way up. And then we're like, well, we know that's not why she lost weight.
Right.
Whatever reason, it wasn't because she just bought 40% of this company, So then we shorted it and made money on the way back down. But we knew the humans were like, oh, Weight Watchers got Oprah.
Right.
And everybody threw their money in there. And we're just like, okay, thanks for the money. And now we're going to short this and take your money back
diabolical.
from
I
you.
know. He is so diabolical. That's a really
So like
good.
I said, your market movers and the people that have been around, they understand or they have a very good assumption of what retail markers and how people are going to perceive things. And if you know what people are going to perceive something as, you can pretty much guess how they're going to react to the market, and that's how you make your money. So yes, you can invest in it if you're smart, but don't just think Matt Damon likes Bitcoin, it's going to go up. Okay,
Yeah.
you have to assume
This
right
is
after that
helping it.
Bitcoin probably went up a little bit.
Right.
Class action lawsuits, I'm sure,
Yeah,
are
and then
just
8
starting
months
to roll
later
in.
it goes down.
So this is why I asked, because Rihanna, she's got Fenty, which sells out, if you guys don't know, but it's
What is
makeup.
makeup? Okay.
Yeah, but she's with LVMH, so I'm keeping my LVMH stock. So yeah, because that's Louis Vuitton anyway, but I'm just saying.
But luxury goods in a recession, probably not the best stock to own, Greg. Huh?
Yeah, luxury goods are the worst thing to own in a recession. You want
So good luck chasing that all the way to the ground, honey.
your
Shut your mouth. So now just buy
your second hands or Griffin goods are going to be what we call them. We're going to be what you want in a recession or a downturn. People are going to buy, your thrift stuff.
Okay, so let me just make sure I got this right, because my husband's in the room. I should go buy the bag and not the stock. Thank you. Hey, thanks for watching and listening to What's Next Wall Street.
That teleprompter guy, I'm sure he's going to be buying lots of Budweiser. So we'd like to thank Greg Krause for joining us here today, and my buddy Ben Parr for being a guest on the show during the
that was
tech
fantastic.
segment.
Yes, thank you, Ben. Remember, if you got questions, we can try to help you answer them. Oh my gosh, this is the longest show ever. Email us at www.OptionsPlayers.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. And of course, you can post your questions in the comments section. Please do that. We want to read them. We like hearing your thoughts. Or on our YouTube page, all right? We want to hear from you.
So you can watch episodes, listen to them, however you get your podcast or get your visuals on. Check it
Yes.
out and make sure you subscribe. Hit the alert button so you get current trending info as soon as it drops from our show. I'm Dave Mathews.
And I'm George Alfredas. See you next time on What's Next Wall Street.
Bye.